Hey everyone, Jayon here from TeamBurningInfinitey, bringing my Demon Lords. An interesting thing, I want to bring you guys my sideboard along with my main board. This might get a little long, so I'm going to warn you here. I really love this deck. This is my pride and joy. I take very much pride in people recognizing that I am the main guy for Dungeon Enemy. I'm the Dungeon Enemy guy. Everyone knows me. You need enemy help? I got you. Anyway, I really embrace that. I really, and I'm not trying to sound any like condescending. I'm not trying to brag. I just really want to just say that it fills me with pride that people understand that I'm probably the best person to come to when it comes to Demon Lords, Dungeon Enemies, anything Dungeon Enemy related, and it just really makes me happy because I may not be the greatest player, but it's really nice to get some recognition for at least knowing my deck the most. But without all that sentiment and all that crap, let's get on to the profile. I actually want to go over my sideboard first, so I'm going to skim through my sideboard, just explain what matchups they're mainly for. I have two Diamond Golem Flood. This is basically just for all these heavy penetrate decks. Now, I would play more, but I do hate the lifelink on this thing being 3. It does cost 2 gauge. It is not a Demon Lord, so it does not synergize well, but it has 3 crit penetrate, and the nice thing, it has 7,000 defense, which is pretty relevant, and becomes 8,000 with Dominion Rod. But the best thing I like about it, it nullifies penetrate, so it helps me deal with Iblis being a bitch, Cradle being a bitch, Forte Festival being a bitch. Like, this is a center-based deck, so all these penetrate cards can get annoying. So I really, 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 really like this card. The next card is 2 impacts. We got 200 Demon, we got 100 Legion. This card lets me pay 2, it's an impact, so final phase, pay 2 gauge, and either destroy all set spells on the field, that includes my own, and deal 2 damage, or destroy all size 2 or less on my opponent's side of the field and deal 2 damage. This is usually for something like Dragon Knights, or like I said, in question, 4K Festival, especially now, 5th Omni. 5th Omni just really can help. Dealing 2 damage may get annoying, but I will destroy all. I'm pretty sure since it says and, it does trigger at the same time, so it will give them an effect if I put them into life break for drum, but it really does help me wipe out their board, which is the good thing I need to do. Then we have 3 100 Demon Sorcery Evil Pulse. This is kind of better to me than Cecilia's Spell Disarm. Cecilia's Spell Disarm only destroys item and set spells for 2 gauge. This costs an extra life and get to destroy any card. And the nice thing it is a destruction just like Cecilia's Spell Disarm. So if I can, and I do have the gauge, I can use the Deo Cruiser to get this back and then use it again. So it's really nice. I do enjoy using this card over Cecilia's in my sideboard. And then the last is 3 Rolling Stone. Now, I know people would probably question if they do know things about Demon Lords, where this is a very center-based deck, and people are going to question, why would you have so many Rolling Stone? Well, because there are moments when I'm going against decks, and mainly this is for, of course, other wall decks. The whole strategy behind this is, once my Demon Lord is probably dead, I will just drop this on my opponent's center and say, fuck you too. I can't have a center, you can't have a center. So then I just nuke their entire monster for 2 gauge, and then usually, if that happens after a Demon Lord dies, I usually have 2 to 3 gauge. So there could be something like I can call a Blade Wing after, or I'll just 1 gauge Demon, swing for 2, get my gauge, and then just set up for next turn. So the great thing about and then even if I do end up destroying my center when I do use this, unless it's Masseria, I won't really mind doing that. Especially if it's Deo Cruiser, because Deo Cruiser got me back a card, so it's worth getting rid of it if I have to. Next up, we have my Flagon Buddy. My buddy is Aid of the Waterlord, Steinblade Joker, 3/1/3. It allows me to, I can only call it when I have a Demon Lord monster on the field. and when it attacks the center monster, it automatically destroys it. I really like dealing with Kojiros and even higher defense Soul Guard monsters in the center, like Seeger and Del Diablos, so I can just pop a soul basically for free. Or if they have no soul, bye! You gotta use Wrath Trigger on this stupid size 0. It's like really fun to like just screw with my opponent with this card, and I really do love it. It's easy to call, it's easy to use, it gets me soul for World End. I really like Steinblade. So, of course, the buddy is at 4, so I'm not even going to go into explanation on that. Next up, we got 2 copies of Thunder Emperor Zane Blessstand. He is a Demon Lord size 1 with 1000 power, 2 critical, 1000 defense. He has a Thunder Mine for when my opponent equips an item, and a second Thunder Mine for my opponent sets a set spell. So it's like, oh, you don't play Cecilius? Fine, just deal 2 damage instead. Anyway, it's really, really bad in terms of stats. Like, it's just basically walking 2 crit, but it's free to call. It's a Demon Lord, so it gets me soul for World End. It's easy to call back. I would just like to do plays like call to center, use Demon Lord's Dungeon, like set Demon Lord's Dungeon, and then like they kill him off the center, then I'll just bring him back at the beginning of my turn. So it's really great. That's all I can really say about him. We have 2 copies of Twin Tails Incubus, Incubus, not Succubus, so if you wanted to get your dick in that, this is a guy. Anyway, Incubus is 2000 power, 2 critical, 1000 defense, and you pay 2 life when it enters the field to search a mission card. So I search my impact, and have a fun time dealing with that when I set it on the final phase. The greatest thing I love about this card is I don't have to use the ability. So if I already have a World End, I don't really have to pay 2 life, and I just basically have another 2 crit. I mean, it's not as good as my next size 1. Next up, we got my last size 1 of the deck. We got 1 Gauge Demon. This is a fantastic card. It gets me 1 gauge when it, well, ironically, it gives me 1 gauge when it deals damage, like an El Quixote. So, oh, and one thing I want to mention, I have Lucina sleeves. I love these. Love them. They feel great, and I am a huge Fire Emblem fan. I love Fire Emblem Awakening. Can't wait for Conquest and Birthright. Anyway, 3000 power, 2 critical, 1000 defense. Like I said, it's an El Quixote clone. It is a great card in Dungeon Enemies, any Dungeon Enemy deck. Even size 3, well, not really, because then you probably run Tsuku, it's probably better. Anyway, I'm getting off track. 1 Gauge Demon is a really great card. It's your El Quixote. It's easy to call back with Demon Lord's Dungeon, so it's free. Next up, we have 4 copies of Miseria. The 1 SP. I'm fine with having 1, and I love it to all hell. I like this art, but this is the one true God right here. You want to find your God, he's right here. He's right here. Anyway, Kiri stepped up and became the most badass Demon Lord of all time. Double attack, double soul guard, and it only costs 2 gauge and lifelink 2, which is not bad. Who cares? The greatest thing is double soul guard, like I mentioned, and with Dominion Rod, this becomes 6,000 defense rather than 5,000, 7,000 power, which can bop Seeger and a deal Diablos for fucking breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I love this card beyond all belief. I just can't express how much I love this card. This is the card I always wanted for Dungeon Enemies. I wanted a Blade Wing that could never be removed, that couldn't be removed easily, and I got it, and it's fucking wonderful. And it's a Demon Lord, and it's an Omni Lord. So everyone can enjoy the goodness that is Miseria. Next up, we have 3 copies of your bullshit Drumbunker Dragon. We have 3 copies of Joker Grinwald. Do I hate Grinwald? Not really. I thought he was always just annoying how long it took us to get this card. It was a Japanese firmware all the way back at set 3. I mean, original set 3, not even HBTO3. And then it just never came out until literally a box hopper from Miracle Impact. And I just said, well, I'm not going to need him now until I saw a World End. And I'm like, shit, I need to find him now. Oh no, it's a promo. Nope, it's uncommon. Got reprinted. I was so happy. Got easy. I got 5 copies of this, but I only played 3. Anyway, this is 1 gauge for top deck into Soul, and has Soul Guard, and it's 5/2/5, and it's a Demon Lord, so yay, World End plays. And 6/2/6 with Dominion Rod. He may not be a Demon Lord, but he's still your boy. We got 3 Blade Wing Phoenixes right here. SP, I love you, Blade. I understand that this is not a Demon Lord, but this is by far still one of the best dungeon enemies of all time, and it's really great when I don't when there are matchups where walling out won't serve me as much of a purpose, so I can sometimes just switch to a slight offense with him and any of my size 1s and just say, okay, fine, all these 2 crits go into your face right now. Take it. So, it's really great to apply some pressure, and then the best thing is, who needs a Raging Spirit when this thing has weak defense and has double attack? So everyone's like, no, all my attention must go to this. I'll like hitting crossbow a monster, like, fine, I'm just gonna use my other monster to kill it. Ha, take that. Then I drop Miseria in my center, and they go, shit. So, I really like this. It diverts attention from my opponent. Even if they choose not to kill it, who cares? I'm just gonna keep hitting your face. So, I really love Blade Wing. It may not be a Demon Lord, but it has a really great place in this deck. Next up, we have another Omni Lord. We have, actually, one of my secret favorite characters. I really do love Asmodai. I don't say it at all, period, but I do love Asmodai. I love demons. I love Asmodai as a character. He's really fun-loving. You can't tell if you can trust him or not. It truly shows off his demon aspect, and I really like that about him. And now that he's a Demon Lord, and he's got synergy in my deck. Why? But I don't care. I'm not complaining. I just love it. Just 10,000 defense. Already great enough. 50,000 power. Good luck not getting counterattacked by that. And then it has its weird Soul Guard where you pay a gauge and discard 2. Okay, that's fine. I would discard 2 Stein Blades. Even if it's something I need in my hand, that's fine. I keep 10,000 defense, 3 crit penetrate with a ton of power. Let's go. Lifelink 2, not so bad anyways, just like Miseria, who cares? All that defense power and you just take 2 damage after all that if you didn't get penetrated, that's fine, that's a good trade-off. But the main trade-off to why it's so freaking dastardly stupid is because Deo Cruiser, right here, any little giant size 3 that lets me get back any Demon Lord or Destruction in my drop zone. So if say my one of that could end up in my gauge goes into my gauge and then I pay it, okay, I'll just get Deo Cruiser out, get him back to my hand, and make your dreams crush. That was a terrible line. Anyway, I love Deo Cruiser. It gets back Miseria and Steinblade and World End in case it got destroyed because people are afraid of it. And Demon Lord's Dungeon and Steinblade and a lot of cards in my deck. Hitting Crossbow. I love Deo Cruiser, but it is quite slow and it does not have Penetrate, so even with 3 crit, I would usually have to have Steinblade to sometimes open a center, because usually people's strategy against Deo Cruiser, since he has no Penetrate and he's got a whopping 3 crit, people just, like, if they can't beat him, they're just gonna throw something in the center and start going attack. I mean, like, let me just attack until they draw into something. But with Steinblade, then I just pop their center, they can't defend it, and then I'll just go for 3, and just, it's a lot of fun. 4 copies of Shalzana, boring as hell, not gonna go over that. 4 Hidden Crossbow, most broken card in my deck. I can get it back with its easy counter removal, that's free, and it lets me fuck with my opponent a lot, especially if they're playing a rush deck. And the best thing is when I have Omnidie, so I Hidden Crossbow one of the monsters in the link attack, then the attack will still keep going through, but it will not destroy it, so then I counterattack the other monsters, so for 1 card, I got rid of 2. I love this card. 3 Fortune Shield, because Butcher will never give us a Drago Energy, so I'm going to accept it and play this, so I can get half a Drago Energy when I have Dominion Rod, and a bullshit Drago Energy when I do not have even Dominion Rod. So, anyway, it gives me plus 2,000 defense, counterattack to any of my monsters for the battle. The greatest thing is, when I start doing this with Omnidie, 12,000 K. Counterattack doesn't stack, so you can't destroy 2 things or something, but it's really, really annoying. If people can barely hit 10, then you go this. Like, say go against Seeger, they attack, use Dragon Outlaw, I'm like, K, Fortune Shield. It's a lot of fun. We got 2 Quiescence of Cassiar. This is basically your better white shield. But you have to have no center. The only time I ever use this is when I am basically going to get bopped when my center goes away. So I need to stop all that damage from hitting my face, and if I don't have the gauge, I can use this instead of Shalzana. And basically it gives me 2 accesses, 2 ways to stop attacks if I don't have gauge, which are Hidden Crossbow and this. So it makes it easy to not get screwed over when you have no gauge. Two Dangerous Fuse. Usually in most Dungeon Enemy decks, I think this card is absolute shit. Like, it's very needed, but it's always absolute shit, because either it will give you Gauge when you least need it, or it'll give you Hand when you least need it. And there are points where neither of them will help you. But in this deck, either one helps you. I could have, say, an Omnidie out. Either more Gauge or more Hand is just as good, because then more Gauge to either use his ability or more Hand to discard for it, so I can get rid of probably the least useful cards in my hand, so I'm paying minimal Gauge and getting rid of cards that aren't really useful to me right now. And even outside of cases of Omnidie, if I need Gauge after I lost a size 3, and then I can call Miseria or something after, then it's really great. It can get me more cards to hand, like a draw, so it's like a free nice one. So I really like it sometimes. There's times where it's good, there's times where it's bad, but that's the whole thing with this. But the nice thing is, it's a free way to just get in a spell and a drop if I don't have the requirements from this area just yet. Oracle Duval, basically your Dragonic Grimoire clone. When you're at life break 5, just discard that shitty hand you probably have and draw 3 cards and hope you get the best you can. Then last of the spells, we have 3 Demon Lord's Dungeon. I've already gone over this, but if you don't know what this is, you have to have a Demon Lord to set this, and this is a Demon Lord itself, so if you already have one set, you can set another one. Anyway, with this, at the beginning of your turn, you can call one size 1 or less dungeon enemy from your drop zone onto the field by paying its call cost. None of them except, well, not really. None of them have a call cost, but Steinblade does need a Demon Lord a Demon Lord monster prior on the field to call him. But other than that, everything else is free, so yeah. Next up, we have 4 copies of Dominion Rod. You just use this like an Armorite formation. Yes, it is really great that this is a Demon Lord, so if you do attack with it, you do get soul from World End. But this deck is very center-based. This is basically just used like I said, an Armorite formation. It is destroyable, just like, and since of all the item hate around, it is a harder to use Armorite formation since everyone, I mean, the great thing is most item hate is either mained or, of course, heavily sided, so people can't use Barbed Wire because I'm probably not going to attack with this, like I said, and if they use item destruction on this, well, most item destruction is 2 Gauge or some life or something, so I don't care because I only paid 1 Gauge for this. You're probably going to have to pay more than that to destroy this, and I don't really care if it goes away. I also have 3 other copies, and I can get them back with Deo Cruiser, so I don't see the problem when you're wasting all these cards. Then last off, we have 3 copies of Darkness Final Mission card, World End. World End is like Ragnarok, but it's better because it's not Ragnarok. Anyway, when I can set this for free. Why? Because Bushy allowed me to, so I'm gonna be happy. When I attack with Demon Lord, and even if it's a link attack, I get soul. If I link attack with 2 Demon Lords, it won't probably happen a lot, but if it does happen, then I do get 2 soul. I thought it would always be 1 because you declared 1 attack, but due to them being 2 different Demon Lords, I do get 2 different soul. So, yay. In case that situation ever arises. Anyway, Demon Lords, when this gets to 5 or more soul at the end of my attack phase, I will get rid of it. And here's the fun part. All my opponent's cards are destroyed. It's not like Ragnarok where it discards hand and shit, but it destroys all their cards and they go to 1 life. And if they have lifelink, any type of lifelink, they will lose. Because this will keep going, and since all cards are destroyed, if you destroy the card with lifelink, then the lifelink card will be put on standby until World End is done resolving. They'll be put to 1 life because of World End, then lifelink will go off, and then they lose. So this is absolutely fantastic against size 3 decks with lifelink. Of course, that means dungeon enemies and ancient world, so it's absolutely fantastic in those matchups. Anyway, I hope you guys like this video. Subscribe to TeamBurningInfinitey for more Buddyfight content, and I'll see you guys later. Jen from TeamBurningInfinitey going outside of this video so long.